Well, hello everybody, good morning, welcome to another episode of From the Ground Up. My name is Jamie, and as you can see, I am in the case, we're in the Magnum, and well, the reason I'm driving along the side of the road, not the road, is because we have our cultivator. Now this big old heap of iron does not fold up very tight, very narrowly at all, which means that we are very much on the verge and just kind of trying to slowly drag this thing along, but when it gets to things like this, we're gonna stop, let the car go, and then we'll spin out, because otherwise we're gonna get stuck on the trees. Otherwise we're gonna get stuck on the trees a bit there, and we really need to get past this little fence before another car comes. But it's a fair old big whack of iron. And for the most part there, we're just going to pull over again. We're going to be using it today on that crop of failed sugar beet that we need to pull out. And then we'll get that ripped up. We're going to get one of our contractors to come in and actually disc in some anhydrous ammonia so we can really get that under control and give it a good kick of fertilizer. We're going to be putting some beans into there in a few days. But at the moment our main problem is just getting this back home, because we don't have an escort or anything. We are out nice and early in the morning in an attempt to try and beat some of the heavy traffic. But there is still quite a bit of it around here, so hopefully we get past this little narrow corridor of trees and then we'll be okay. But yeah, we're going to take this back to the yard anyway, and then we'll get going. The sugar beet itself may need working over more than once, but we'll see how it turns over there. It's in its early stages, but it's just had a horrid time with kind of, I don't know what it, to be honest, I don't really know a lot about sugar beet. We never grew it back home, and it's just been infested by a bug, I think, or a beetle infestation, so it's pretty much ruined before it got started. So with that in mind, what we'll end up doing is just working this over, work the land down there, and then we'll bring in a fresh crop in the coming days, really. So it'll still be some good organic matter there going into the soil, which would be good. And you know, we'll have to make the best of a bad situation here. But yeah, for some reason, why have you stopped there? Stopped to read a map, of all things, bang in the middle of the road. Can you believe that? Anyway, we're on. We'll keep on plundering our way home, and then when we get back there, we'll have a bit of an update and we'll see how it's all looking. But for now, we've just got to get this big hunk of the iron home. So we'll see you when we're in the field. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have been busy. We've gone through this once already. We're just doing the last kind of headland round here. I think I'm actually going to give it another run over. It's turned over quite nicely, but it could probably just even itself out a little bit from the way I've passed over it. We'll give it another go. And that should break it down nicely, and then there'll be a third time over it when the contractor arrives. He's bringing, the way that he's going to apply the ammonia here is with a cultivator, so it's in like a drip-fed coulter. So we should get that put in by the end of today, really. I should think, all being well, and then we'll move on. So yeah, that's what we're going to get going there. Yeah, so looking forward to get that established, and then I don't know how big a machine it is. We don't have any of those kind of machines ourselves, so for this we're just getting a contractor in, really. He's a local farmer who has a little bit of spare time and a much bigger piece of equipment than I do, so yeah, he's going to crack on and give us a helping hand here, which is great news. But for now though, we're going to just keep rumbling our way through here, I should think, and then we'll see how it's looking as we progress. So far, the glorious, the mighty Case Magnum has handled this brilliantly, really has. This is the first real heavy outing we've had with this thing. It pulled a grain trailer home, and that was about it. But yeah, it's nice to actually get it to work. The soil condition is remarkably dry. We could nearly do with a splash of rain on here soon. We've got some grass that needs to grow as well, so ideally a good, a nice rain shower just to kick that on would be perfect. But ultimately, yeah, very impressed. It's a nice, clean-looking cab as well, very well looked after, and it's a perfect machine for the farm here, really. So I have seen on my travels quite a few of the more modern versions of this tractor, which are looking, which kind of give you an indication that Case is a trusted brand around here, which is nice. As long as there's a great dealership up the road actually where I know I can get this serviced if I need to, so that's very handy. But yeah, ultimately this is very nice. We're going to work wonders for the farm here. So we are going to take this. I worked this over east-west really for the first time. So what we're going to do, we'll lift this back up, and then we're probably just going to go in a little bit of an angle actually. So if we start about there, by working on a little bit of an angle here, we should be able to just kind of even out any of the soil and give a good seed bed, and that'll be ideal. So we're going to keep plowing on with this as it comes through there, looking nice and tidy. And then hopefully as we get through this a little bit more, we should find out that the contractor arrives. He shouldn't be too long out. Okie dokie, that's done there. So by just, let's see, pulling on the, I've got this set up so it's the second spool valve in. Pulling on the spool valve there, we see our cultivator folding up. Now, I've never really been used to a cultivator that doesn't fold up with less width than, I think it's 4 meters, 3.5 meters. So to see it fold up like that and be done is quite remarkable for me, I must say. But that's it done, so we don't need to worry about that anymore. We're going to just pull off to the side here, and we'll have a look to see if we can figure out where the driver's gone and see what's going on here, and we'll get this all set up and watch how this machine works, I think. Just listen to that thing, it sounds biblical in there. So anyway, we're going to park up here and have a quick look at this, see what it's doing. So we are pumping through anhydrous ammonia here, which is the liquid held in that yellow and white tank. It's pumped through into the coulters, which then directly apply it into the ground. And then that means that it's a bit more of an efficient approach to applying fertilizer. That is a monstrous tractor on the front there, probably far too big for what's needed. And if we have a look over here, a quick wander over there, you can see that the ground's just been turned over a little bit as well, and there's that moisture on the top there now. But we're going to let this machine work through here. It shouldn't take too long at all to do this whole field, and we'll see how that goes. It's an absolute beastly looking thing. It's fantastic, and it's just if you apply it through this particularly, because we have a water source down here, it's a very nice way to be a bit more conscientious when you're applying the fertilizer, just so we stop what's called eutrophication, where any of the fertilizer may run off the field here straight into water sources like this, and then you'll start to see a lot of excessive growth of weeds, which will then weeds and plants underwater, which will then die, and then they rot to the bottom of the water source, and then they start to rot and prevent any other plants from growing down the bottom there. Couple that to having big reeds, for example, like lily pads, or big reeds that block off any sunlight reaching the bottom of the water source, the water body, then you've got a real problem on your hands there. So by using methodologies such as this kind of direct application, it really does reduce how much leaching of herbicides, pesticides we get into the soil. So we're going to leave the contractor there. He's more than happy just to crack on with this. And it'll really kick up the soil nutrients before we get to come planting, which would be fantastic news. I can't get over this machine though, it's absolutely stunning. I love this tractor. This is a Rabba, I think it is. I haven't actually ever come across one of these before, and definitely didn't have any in England, so it's fantastic to see. But we're just going to let him come past, and we'll see what he's got here. And as you can see there, look a little bit closer up, you can see the lines coming through from the tank into the back of the coulters there. It really is a nice piece of kit to follow. But we will let him go. We're going to let him finish up that, and we're going to take our machine back. And then we're kind of done with that for now, so we're going to pop it into the shed somewhere. Maybe we don't have a jet washer or a pressure washer yet, so we need to find one of those. I'm not buying a new one, that's for sure. We'll see if we can find something second hand. And that's us good to go. So as you can see here, these meadows are kind of a little bit slower in growing now. They are an old grass that, as I mentioned, they probably want a good harrow through, maybe a reseed a little bit as well. And we'll see how if we can improve the quality of the grass in here, and also the one on the other side of the tree line there. That wants to be done as well. So that'll be a job for probably next back end of the summer, maybe next spring actually after the winter, to see if we can improve the quality of the grass around here. But for now, we're just going to go and take this up to the yard. We'll get this parked up out the way, and then we'll get that seed drill on and see if we can get everything ready to go. We've just discovered another problem with that cultivator. It is too wide to fit in the sheds, would you believe? So it's going to stay outside for now. We'll figure out what to do with that at a later date. But for now, we're going to go into this shed here where we've got old Percy's seed drill. This hasn't been used in a while, but it's still usable. It's been kept inside, which is a godsend because it means it's in great condition. Kept out away from all the elements, so we can get this all hooked up and ready to go for when we have some seed arriving in the next few days. But yeah, so I think this is in the region of about 6 meters, maybe a little bit less. Maybe about 4 actually, the more we look at it. But ideal little machine for us to get started with. I will, when we're able to expand sufficiently, I will be looking to get something a little bit bigger in here. But for now, this will more than do the job, I'm absolutely certain. So we're going to just get this all strapped in, get it all ready to go. And we will leave it there, I think. So pull this out. This hasn't been calibrated yet, so I'm going to have to... I think in the workshop somewhere I have a book on the calibration for this. So it makes sense, we're just going to pull it into the workshop now and we'll have a better look at it. Ooh, I'm going to have to breathe in a bit here. This is wide. Oh! Oh, just flick the rubber on the way in there. We'll stop it there. In fact, I think that these... Okay then. So, as a whole, the cedar looks perfectly nice and clean inside actually. Inside and out, there's no rust anywhere that we need to be worried about, no rotten metal anywhere. So that's all good. We'll have a look at the coulters, we'll check those all over, make sure they're still free and moving, haven't seized up in any damp conditions. And if that's all looking good and we're all okay, then we'll just make sure the calibration for this machine, I believe we have set there. That's perfect. So just on those two sides, we can alter how many seeds come through per rotation of the wheel. So we'll have a look at that, make sure that's all set onto the right mark for some soybeans, and then we're good to go. At this stage though, we are going to very much leave this here as we continue just to make some progress, get cracking really with some work around the yard here. And it won't be too much longer until we're planting some soybeans and really kicking on, looking forward to the hay. And we might do some forage, as I say, I'm not too sure on that front. Just going to hurdle this hedge. There we go. But for now, as you can see, the contractor's working away lovely and quickly here, actually, very efficiently. And making some great progress. So we will just leave it here as we're going to watch him for a little bit longer actually as well, just to make sure that everything is going well. But as you can see, so climb up here, there we go. He is really making some great ground there, so that's excellent to see. We will leave it with him, and then we will see you in the next episode. So until then, thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this latest episode from the ground up. My name is Jamie. If you have enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that like button, and if you haven't done so yet, please do subscribe to Simulation for the Nation, who very kindly hosts these blogs of mine. But until next time, we will see you later. So have a great weekend, and we'll catch you next week.